Hey everybody, Jim at Reverb.com. I'm here at the Martin booth at NAMM 2023 with my buddy Fred. How are you, Fred?
What's up, buddy? Good to see
right.
you.
What do you got new? What's this thing?
All right, this is it. This is our new D-18 Satin StreetLegend. So it's everything you currently love in the D-18, exact same specs as a regular full gloss D-18, except we've got a little new technology we've been working with, and I kind of have a little idea one day, about a year ago, and we said, you know, this technology sort of allows us to take images and put the image directly onto the wood, not the old photo flame junk that you used to see before where they printed on some kind of paper or film and it would peel off.
Right.
No. This is just like spraying directly onto the wood. That's really all it is, just using a much smaller spray nozzle and then being able to take a digital image and put that on. So we had some old guitars in our museum, and we took the wear patterns off those, just took a picture of those, and we were able to recreate that directly onto the wood of this guitar. So what you're seeing is real wear.
That's cool, man. So like, what was the guitar that you guys like, or not photoed, but scanned or whatever?
Yeah, we have a guitar that we purchased from Mary Lou Lord, who was Kurt Cobain's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And as a guitar, we have pictures of Kurt, played it for quite a while. That's in our museum.
That's cool.
Yeah,
and by the way,
really cool.
if you've never been to the Martin Museum, you absolutely should go. It is a must-do. You know, definitely do it before you die. Bucket list, sort of a place to go. So make it happen. But it's really cool because like you think that there's grain or you think that there's like indentation, but then you feel it and it's totally it's
totally smooth. And it's, like I said, it's directly on the wood, and it's one of those things that I think when people see pictures of it, they go, I don't know, this feels kind of weird to me, right? But then when you see it in person, you go, holy crap. The first thing everybody does is they walk up to the guitar and they do this.
Yeah.
And they start touching it like that. And we have a wall of a lot of guitars here, and this is the first guitar everybody comes to.
Totally. Well,
right?
It looks like an old Martin. It looks like you have a pre-war Martin sitting over here, and then you look at the price point and you're like, well, that's a lot less than a pre-war Martin.
That's a lot less than a pre-war. That's $400 less than a regular D-18.
Totally.
So it's a great bargain if you want to do that. And you know, we're doing the exact same guitar at the same price point. If you just want it in a sunburst finish, you can get it in a sunburst finish with no wear. And if you just want it in a clear plain top with no wear, we offer that too.
I mean, this one has a little bit of the wear, right?
That's the D-28 version, and it does have a little less wear. And it was interesting, as we were going through the museum and we're starting to look at instruments, we found that the 28s had less wear typically than the 18s. It was really strange.
It's usually like people beat up their D-18s more, threw them around because there's no Brazilian on the back?
Well, I think the 18 was just at a lower price point. You know, so people probably just didn't take care of them, and eventually they'd maybe say, hey, I want to upgrade to a 28 or something like that, and they probably took more care of the 28.
Right.
I don't know. I can't explain it. So we just tried to replicate it the same way. So we actually used wear pattern from an 18 and wear pattern from a 28 and matched them up to the exact same guitars. And
you know what's interesting is like we were talking yesterday about like the idea of a relic'd or an aged guitar and like kind of how divisive it can be.
It is very divisive.
Right? Like some people love it, some people hate it. I love it because I'm going to probably mark up the guitar anyway, and so why do I need a shiny guitar? But I do think it's interesting that like one of the things that you mentioned about like people sometimes feel with their eyes, like it feels vintage because of what they look, or it feels aged because of how it looks rather than necessarily how it feels. This one really kind of solidified that idea for me because I picked it up and it does feel aged, but it's just an image.
It's just an image. We have a running joke about you hear with your eyes in many cases. If you fall in love with the way a guitar looks, something you like the way it sounds, right? And I think the same thing goes for the way a guitar feels. If you like the way it looks, you tend to like the way it feels in many cases. And it just, to some people, the instruments are tools. They're certainly a fashion accessory at the same time, right? And it just, if it gives you the right vibe, you just sort of fall in love with it. And it works for you.
My favorite guitar in the booth. This is the D-28 Authentic. 37 with a little bit of age. So this age is not photoed or scanned on. This is
correct. This is physical aging of the instrument. This is one where we're actually using a different lacquer than we currently use on our regular guitars, because the more modern lacquers they won't crack. The lacquer doesn't crack.
Really?
So, yeah, they put more plasticizer in it, and there's VOC issues and EPA reasons. Right. But the old lacquer is like a sort of an airplane lacquer that would crack over time, with different temperature changes. So the instrument would swell and break and come back and forth, and the lacquer would crack. So we actually had to go out, research, find a different lacquer, use that on this particular instrument, then crack the lacquer, and then it has the physical dings and dents that you would normally see in an old vintage guitar, and it has a different gloss package on it than we do with our current ones, because they used to gloss instruments up in a different way back in the old days. Yeah. They had a whole different process.
It's just different tooling, but also
different. Just everything about it was different. We kind of keep it secret. Yeah. We didn't really even know how they were doing the old gloss at one time, and then Jeff Allen at the factory actually found an old letter, and the guy was trying to get some pieces and parts from a vendor, and he was explaining to him what our process was, and he listed out the entire old process in an old letter. So that's the benefits of having an archive in a museum. Yeah, it was so cool, and that's how we figured it out. We just ran across the letter, and we had, oh my God, we would have never figured this out in a million years. Yeah. So it's really, really cool. It's under the finish, the pick guard's under the finish. This one's using Guatemalan rosewood.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, we've gone to the Guatemalan rosewood. We've run out of Madagascar. We can't get it anymore. We bought a big slew of it back 2006, something like that, 5. I can't remember when we bought it. And then they had some political issues over there. You're not allowed to buy it anymore. Right. So we used up what we had on Authentics and Customs, and we've moved on to a Guatemalan rosewood. And it has a different look, right?
Yeah,
it has a little different sound.
We're actually, wow, look at that.
Yeah, we're actually capturing some of the sapwood on the inside. We talked about not using that, but because
I think it's rad.
I think it's cool too. I said, I think it's time we kind of move and start to do some different stuff and give people another reason. Very Brazilian in the way it sounds, a little denser maybe than the Matty is. Yeah. Has a different look, obviously, but totally.
What about Indian rosewood?
I would consider Indian sort of more the middle ground of everything. It's kind of right down the center. This stuff is definitely denser than the Matty is. Yeah. But the Matty had a little bit more dark, inky lines that kind of maybe had a little more Brazilian look.
Yeah, right. Which people hear with their eyes sometimes.
That's it. Either you like it or you don't. And you can see it on the side of this. It looks pretty. You're kind of getting that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it looks really, really cool, man. Yeah. I really do. And for me, like the whatever, if you want to call that an imperfection relative to just a straight thing, I think that's an asset, at least for my eye.
I think it makes it unique. Yeah. Right. So
the purists are going to be upset about not using Brazilian anyway.
So they want straight grain on everything, and I get that because of the vintage, but in today's world with the way wood is and exotic wood, it's just not. Yeah. I could give you that if you want to pay 20 grand for every guitar. Yeah, totally. It's just not realistic.
You want to pay 20 grand for every guitar?
Nobody does. Trust me. So we're trying to keep the price point somewhat relative here. It is hide glue. It is a non-adjustable T-bar, just like the old ones. The fingerboard is thinner than our regular guitars because that's the way it was. Big fat neck. The whole shoot and match, man. I mean, it really is just like we built them in 1937. Yeah. The whole thing.
Take it.
Yeah,
anyway, it's really awesome, man.
Cool.
You guys should check out all these guitars. They're going to be on Reverb from your favorite independent retailer. And we'll see you next time. Cheers. Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.